Hello, this is the latest LEGO Star Wars Imperial TIE Fighter set. This one goes with the Solo movie. I have to admit, when I got this thing, when I physically got the set in my hands, the first thing that came to mind was, man, they've made a lot of TIE Fighters. Really, another TIE Fighter? But then I looked back and I realized that, wait a minute, they have not made that many TIE Fighters, honestly. Especially not just regular, like original trilogy era ones. The last one that we got was for The Force Awakens, the last regular minifig scale one. You know, not including UCS, not including microfighters and polybags and things like that. And a lot of the build of this new one is identical to the previous, with just some changes to colors, particularly with the wings. The wings are almost identical. So if you're familiar with the First Order version, then you'll be very familiar with this, except for the center canopy section. They changed kind of how the roots of the wings are done just a little bit. That's mostly just cosmetic. The last regular Imperial TIE Fighter that they made was in 2012, and I don't have that one, but before 2012 they just had this. That was the original, which they actually re-released. I think it was a total of 3 times they released the exact same thing, so not a whole lot of regular TIE Fighters have been made. So I guess it's about time that we got another one. This wing, or solar/radiator panel design that's basically copied from the First Order version, is actually very good. So I'm glad they didn't come up with something entirely new, because if something's not broken, don't try to fix it. This is a very, very good design in that it's solid, it's sturdy, and yet it's very thin. It's only 2 plates thick through most of it. And, you have some things added on top of that. This is great to get. The little minifig roller skate piece now in just a regular light gray. The only thing that I don't like here is that if you look carefully from above, you can see a little bit of color beneath. You can see some of the blue beneath there, and you can see some of the brown beneath there. It's really not that big of a deal, but if you're looking for just gray and black, that will kind of stand out from some angles. The wing roots on the insides, again, have some additional pieces put around just for the shaping, for the looks, but the connection method is identical to the First Order one. 4 clips going in or going over 4 bars, and none of these colored pieces are visible normally, so I have no issue with that whatsoever. Some people have had trouble in the past with this design, with the wings falling off easily. What is absolutely crucial is that you push it all the way in until it snaps fully. Make sure it's a nice solid connection, and then it's not going to fall off on its own unless you're really rough with it. The main center fuselage, then, is mostly noteworthy for the inclusion of these 2 pieces here and here. They are in light gray, a recolor of a part that was previously introduced in brown to be used to hold the 2nd generation style of minecart tracks for the Minecraft theme. And they're kind of pointy, kind of stands out a little bit, but makes for some interesting shaping. Goes with some of the linear geometric shapes that they've used to approximate the curvature of the thing overall. I personally prefer more of a curvy shape, but you are really limited in this size and scale when you want to get a figure in there as well. So I think this is okay, but I wish maybe those tips were just cut off a little bit. Now, it's really easy to get a figure in here, because once again, they let you open up the canopy from the front and the roof from the top. So there's your figure. You can bring the flight yoke down. This clip piece on the front just kind of holds the figure in place. Kind of works like a harness for him. And he's not even attached with any studs. He just sits right down in there. So there's absolutely no fuss there. There are a couple of clips up by his ears that can be used to hold on to accessories. If you have a blaster for him or something, you can put one of them up there, or even 2 if you had to. But this works out really well, and this center section is very, very solid. As hollow as it is, and as little structure as there is around the front and the top, it doesn't want to bend at all. Now on the top, you get a printed piece to represent a hatch up there. And then around the back, they actually try to go rounded with the design. Some concentric circles there, but then a couple more of those minecart track corner pieces out there, which kind of throw things off just a little bit, throw off the roundness. But matches the front, and like I said, it's just really solid. So it makes for a very good toy. Now, these the spring-loaded missiles stick out quite a bit on the back, but it's not too much. It's very convenient for actually shooting them if you are flying this around. There's always a long stream of comments on any video about TIE Fighter models. Why do they use the red color when the bolts come out green? Well, it's very simple. Look at any Star Wars movie. Look at the TIE Fighters. Look at these spots. They glow red. Look at the actual models, the actual props from the movie. They are painted red because the tips of the barrels are intended to glow red. So that's what they're going for there. They're going for the realism when it's in its normal static displayed form or when it's not shooting things. So it's a compromise. You're either going to get that right or you're going to get the bolt color itself right, and they chose one until they come up with a dual molded bolt that is red on the front and then green through the rest. It's going to be either or, and this is the choice that most model making companies go with. And that's pretty much it for the fighter itself. There's nothing else that it will do. It's just a TIE Fighter, and it's very swishable. Very, very swishable. I actually like the size. I like how compact the canopy section is, and the main center fuselage bubble there. I think it'll be really easy to hold on to for younger hands, smaller hands. It's fine for adult hands. Those wings do not fall off on their own, again, unless you hit them really hard or you intentionally try to pull them off. I think it's a good toy. So here is the Imperial TIE Fighter pilot with print on the hips and the legs. No print on the arms, but everything here looks pretty good to me. They've made a bunch of different variations of TIE Fighter pilots over the years, and I personally really haven't had any problems with any of them. And I think that the newer ones do look more accurate than the oldest, but I don't like the exposed skin around the back of the head. I wish that was done with a dark color on the back of the head itself. The head has a single face, and as is usual, it is Angry Clone. Next up is a Mimban Stormtrooper, or Mimban Stormtrooper, Mimban. It's basically a light gray colored Stormtrooper with a little bit of camo. And if you're one of those cynics that says, oh great, they made another variation of generic baddie trooper just to sell more figures, well, I think you're correct. I think that's exactly what they did, and that's exactly why. But I don't mind it. They've been doing this for decades now, and I think the idea of a gray base color for a Stormtrooper is cool. I would like to see this without the camo design, but the camo design itself is pretty good. Too bad it does not go into the arms or down the sides of the legs, but all things considered, it's done pretty well. And you get a printed kind of a cloak piece back here, which shows that it has a hood embedded into it, and that's just down right now. They don't give you an alternate piece for that. It's the older style of more crinkly, more paperish style cloth, so it can get folded up, but I'm okay with that to get the nice crisp print on it. The print on the back of the torso is pretty intricate, so they really went into the camo there. They did not go light and easy and lazy with it just because it's not visible most of the time. So if you want to run one of these without the raincoat, I think is what it's supposed to be, a poncho, then you can, and you'll see a nice design back there. And this is another one that uses the Angry Clone head. Head. Now this one's interesting. This is Han Solo in Imperial disguise, long before the Princess Organa prison break. So it'll be interesting to see how they integrate that in without making it too cheesy. It's got a lot of sand green paint on the front there. Looks like it's been scratched up, well battle worn. Got some nice printing going on for the helmet, including the goggles, which are up. Too bad you can't actually bring those down. It's all one piece. But the detail there is pretty good. Got the red stripe on this side. Adds a nice little splash of color. And this is another of those same poncho, coat, cloak style pieces back here. Identical. Really nice print on the back of the torso. When you stand back like a couple feet, maybe 3 feet, it just looks so good in the upper part of it and down at the bottom left to me that it just makes me want to zoom in. It just makes me want to get up closer and look at that detail and appreciate it a little bit better. And the alternate face makes sense. I think the only thing that would have made this significantly better as a figure would have been the inclusion of an alternate headpiece, head add-on piece. So hair rather than helmet. So he could take the helmet off and have his trademark hairstyle. This is Tobias Beckett. It's Woody Harrelson's character in the movie. Also in Imperial disguise here, obviously. Has a different style of coat on. This one does not have the hood, and it's longer, more like a trench coat, but a little bit lightweight. It kind of looks like. I see some Woody Harrelson in that face, but it's a stretch. I don't look at it and immediately identify it with the actor himself. So I think an okay job was done with that. Maybe not great. Has to be a single face head though, no alternate expression because of the headgear that's used there, which leaves everything open around the back. I think the print on the back is fine, on the back of the torso. Would have been nice to get a little bit more coloring or shading in there, but I think this works well enough. Yeah, a little bit more depth maybe to show the distance between the armor and the coat, I guess, would have been good. The two pistols there are his own dual-wield units that are done in the metallic silver color. The only last thing to see here is just a little bit more of the face print. So another pretty well-designed TIE Fighter, but the problem with this one is exactly the same as the problem with the First Order one that we got most recently. That's the price, relative to the number of parts and relative to the overall volume of stuff that you get with the set. It just doesn't feel like I get $70 US worth of stuff here in my hands. Maybe if it was a solid build, then sure, but with most of it being empty space, I don't know, it's a little bit of a tough pill to swallow still. At least this one is more collectible, I think, displayable, and memorable, iconic than the First Order one, given that it is an actual Imperial TIE Fighter. And it does look pretty good. I would like to cut off those little tips right there just a little bit. But yeah, overall, a good thing, just not a particularly good value. So I have to give the same recommendation for this that I did with the last one. Wait for the price to come down. It does have some large-ish pieces. It does not have any stickers whatsoever, so that's great. The figures are fine. Same number of figures as we got in the First Order set, but value is, again, just pretty much identical. Not great. Parts count is nearly identical. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my thoughts on this one. So leave your thoughts if you would like to in the comments down below, and I'm going to keep working to bring you more content, and I will talk to you again soon.